I'm trying to find the words to speak, the words to change. I am grappling for wisdom I do not have. I come to you as a mirror reflecting you. I have not the words to pull from my head that could blow your mind away, nor the means to reign over you in knowledge. My intellect is of average, as is my courage. But what do I have to give to you? Nothing. I am a piece to be used in the construction of life, of truth, and of enlightenment. I am one of many, yet not to be duplicated. I am a shell, beautiful in appearance, empty and not to be filled. What do I see? Nothing. What can break me? Anything. I look to life for life, yet find none. I desire, but do not obtain. I ask for, but ask in vain. I have nothing, I am nothing, I do nothing, yet these tedious facts mean nothing, because I believe that I am, that I have. I believe that I can, and I do. What you see of me is not what I am, it is what you know. What you see of me is not what you know, it is what you believe. What do you see in me? What am I to you? I look to my reflection, I observe, then turn away. Too quickly? Perhaps. I cannot remember what I saw, for when I looked I did not see, but when I saw I did not acknowledge the truth of the reflection. I turned so that I might forget. I forget so that I might not remember. I am a memory, I am a dream, I am a hope renewed, I am a reflection. I reflect life but never death. I reflect lies but never truth. You cannot find yourself in me. You cannot hope to live through me. I am a life. I am a dream. I am a facade. I am a means to an end. I am a projection. I am an ideal. I am all and yet I am nothing. I am you. I think that it's important for us to understand that the best influence we will ever have in this world are our lives. I mean, our lives reflect our hearts. Our relationship with others reflects our relationship with God, and everything stems from the heart. It says in the Bible to keep our hearts vigilant, because from it flows the springs of life. Students at the Master's College strive to live lives of godliness. The question is, what are their motivations? And more importantly, are their actions and steps towards a life of godliness for their own spiritual growth or for the eyes of fellow believers? The Master's College is meant to be a training ground for students in order that they might grow and be strengthened in their salvation and be prepared to go out into the world to be vessels for the kingdom. That's the mission of the Master's College, but what's the reality? Aside from the theology that the college teaches and the principles which they establish, the students represent the Master's College. The issue that I'm addressing isn't the college, it's the students. They're the reality of the college, and no matter what is on the mission statement or what is taught in chapel, they represent what this college is because they are the end result of everything that the leaders and teachers of the college have worked to establish. I mean, we all strive to be Christ-like. We're all pressing towards the same goal. However, instead of the Master's College being a training ground for students, it has become a racetrack on which each student races individually for themselves. It's a race to righteousness, but the reality is no one will ever reach the finish line. Students need to understand that their bind with the Spirit and their growth within their Christian journey is not dependent upon how fast they can attain righteousness or how fast they can reach the standard of what a Christian should be or do. They will never reach righteousness and will never reach that standard because their motives are based upon the person next to them or the person behind them or the person on the side watching. Are the standards which students strive to reach truly standards which God has established, or are they the result of a competition and division among us? We're a body of believers called to exist in the unity of the Spirit. Paul says to the church of Ephesians, I urge you to walk in a manner worthy of the calling to which you have been called, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, eager to maintain the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. There is one body, one Spirit, just as you were called to the one hope that belongs to your call, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and one Father of all, who is over all and through all and in all. Without we ourselves being one with the Spirit, we cannot hope to be one with the body or with each other. The unity of believers and the unity that exists when we are one in the Spirit is our standard. That should be our goal, especially as young Christians within a college. What are students' purposes in being on the campus? They came to the campus to receive a Christian education, so that through that education they may be established in their faith. but how much of the Christian education is being implemented into their spiritual lives or their personal walks with God. What they are receiving is meant to be used as tools to transform their hearts and to prepare them for life, not to be used as a facade to make others believe that they are as knowledgeable as the words they can repeat. There is a difference between hearing and knowing, as is there a difference between knowledge and wisdom. I can hear wisdom spoken from the words of another. I can know wisdom when it is spoken. I can recognize it, but that doesn't mean that I have it. You're students, are you not? You're here to be taught, not solely by your professors, but ultimately from God. And just as your professors give you tools, so God uses them as tools to sow into your life. But they can only go so far as planting the seed. It is your job to water and to nourish it, but you can't, because you've become stilted Christians, unable and unwilling to change or to grow. And growing is not solely dependent upon what you are taught or how much head knowledge you gain. Growing is letting go of yourself in order that God might transform you from the inside out. Growing is stepping outside of the shell in which only what you want and only what you're comfortable with exists. Growing is acknowledging. The Bible tells us that anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in a mirror and after looking at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. Why do we ignore truth? Why do we push aside what we know is our downfall? It's because we don't want to be faced with the reality of who we are. We're moral hypocrites. Do you immediately assume that because you are in a Christian college that upholds certain principles of Christianity, that you immediately reflect those principles? Your lives will always reflect your heart. Your actions and your conduct towards others will always expose you for what is really in your heart. I mean, you can say all that you want, but unless what you say is being reflected in your life, it means absolutely nothing. It means nothing to God, and it means nothing to people, because people can see past that. You say that God calls us to do this and to be this. You can go out and feed the homeless or witness to unbelievers, and you can't show the same kindness or love towards the people who you are surrounded with every day. That's always our greatest challenge, loving those who we don't want to love, but that's our calling. God's calling on our lives is to be a body of believers. That means one body, existing and living through one spirit. Paul tells us that God himself is our peace. He has made two groups into one and has destroyed the barrier, the dividing wall of hostility. He's done this by setting aside in his flesh the law with its commands and regulations, and his purpose was to create in himself one new humanity out of the two, making peace, and in one body to reconcile both of them to God through the cross, which he put to death, their hostility. You will never be one with each other until you are one with Christ, and you cannot be one with Christ until you have completely surrendered your life. You cannot alienate yourselves from each other. And there cannot be a separation between your Christian education and your spiritual lives. Each is so intertwined that if they are not working together and through each other, neither will be useful for your life. The greatest impact that you will ever have in this world are the lives that you live as Christians and the bond that you have as believers. God's power and his glory are so greatly shown when we as Christians are one. One in love, one in conduct, one in faith. God's hope for us is that we may be one as he and his Son are one. That the world may believe that he sent his Son for us. You are examples of what you believe, and the opportunity that students have on the Master's College campus and under the teaching of the leaders and the professors is amazing. So why fall short of what you could be together? Run the race as one body, through one spirit and in one faith, so that you may hope to be from the inside out, and that God may be able to use you for his purpose, because you will never be used by him until you allow yourselves to be transformed by him. That should be what you strive for. Strive to be worthy to be called children of the kingdom.